Hello and welcome to the 19th video in the PHP e-commerce series. My name is Curtis and this is Free Skills. Alright, so we're here in the products page and we're still trying to finish this up. So we're just going to continue on banging out the edit portion of this. We have a few things going on here that I want to show you. One, we have this undefined variable going on 11. We kind of left off this in the last video, so we're just going to pick up there and we're going to go ahead and populate the rest of this form, I hope. So let's get going. Here's line 11, and you can see right off the bat that I have, instead of an assignment operator, I have a check there, and we're not trying to see if they're equal, we're actually trying to assign category with this value. A couple things. One, we want to grab this, even if it's not posted, we want to go ahead and set this here, and we're grabbing this from the database if edit is here. So right here we have that. The other thing we want to do is this echo here. We don't really need this. This is from the last video, so let's just clean that up now since I saw that. Get rid of that number at the top of the page. But what we need to do is we need to pass this category that's being either posted or saved in our database to our child categories parser through our Ajax call, so that it knows, so that we can do a little bit of more logic in here and we can actually set the option selected to that one and before we pass those values back. So in order to do that, we just need to, we're going to be working in the products PHP, the child categories PHP, and the footer PHP. Now this is the footer from the admin area, so admin includes footer, and not the includes in the front end of our site. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on here. One, here's our get child options right here. This is our JavaScript function that is calling all of this. But we want to accept a parameter in this. So what we're gonna do here is we're going to pass in we're gonna accept selected, and we're just gonna, that's the only parameter that we need, so that we can then send that to this file here, the parsers file. So we're gonna create another variable here, and what we're gonna do is do a check, and we're gonna say if type of, and then we're going to say selected, and this is just going to be like a little check here. So if type of selected equals undefined, okay, then what we want to do is we're going to set var selected equal to a blank string. Okay, what we need to do though is pass this selected if it's going to set this variable here if it's not selected or if it's undefined, which means it haven't been passed into here. It's basically like in PHP when you can set like a default value. JavaScript doesn't really have that syntax, so what we can do is this right here. So now that we have this selected, we need to send that with this post data to our with our Ajax call. So right here in data, we're just going to add to this data here by putting a comma there, and we're going to do selected, and then we're going to set that equal to selected. So this is setting the post key, and then this is the value, and that value is being passed in here or being set here. Okay, so it's really all we need to do to change this function to get that to work, but we have to do something else. We need to, once the page is loaded, we need to go ahead and call that function so that we can use this category right here and pass that into there. So what we're going to do is at the very bottom of this file, and we're doing it in here instead of our footer because I don't want this to run on all pages that this is included on. I just want it to run on this file. So it's going to look a little ugly in our code, but that's okay. We're just going to go ahead and stick it in here. We could do other logic, but for now this is what we're going to do. Okay, so inside of here I'm just going to say we'll use our Jquery, and I just noticed we're missing right here on line 228. I'm missing my closing PHP tag, so make sure you have that. But we're going to use Jquery, and we're going to do document. All right. Oh, might want to spell that correctly. Document, and then we'll do dot ready. Okay. So on this dot ready, what do we need to do? Well, we're going to pass it. We're going to go ahead and use an anonymous function here. So we're just going to put function. We're not going to give it a name because it's an anonymous function, and we're going to call our get child options right here. Okay. So get child options. All right, and we're actually going to pass it in that PHP variable of category. Okay, and that will give us the posted deal. Now this needs to be in single quotes inside of here for this to work. There we go. So now the PHP part of this script will actually populate this right here, this argument or this parameter, however you want to call it, to this, and it'll pass it in to this get child options. So that happens right here. Okay, so the last thing that we need to do to make this work, and actually what we can do, I'm going to show you guys something. If you're in Chrome and you open in your developer tools, you can go to network, and actually in the console here I'm going to turn on preserve log on network and on my console here. I'll minimize that. So now if I refresh the page, what should be happening is, yep, so that it did go ahead and fire this off, and when it did, you can see selected right here, it passed at 6. So we know that logic's working. The problem with this is we haven't actually told the parser file to do anything with this information yet. So that's going to be the easy part of this. So if we go back to that child categories parser now, this is the file that's called from the AJAX request, we just need to add up here right below parent ID, we're going to add selected, and we're going to say equal to $_post selected. Okay, and just for consistency and just for a little bit of we're going to want to go ahead and sanitize that just to make it a little more secure. Again, this is just that HTML entities function that we set up earlier in our helpers file. Okay, so then all we have to do here is down here in the option, right here before the closing right here inside of this, we're going to add an attribute, and actually what you would normally do is you would just say selected here, and what that would do is that would tell it that this is a selected element, but we don't want to do that on every one. This while loop happens. We just want it to happen if it does happen. So what we're going to do is excuse me, we're going to go ahead and set up our ternary operator here. You guys know I love these things. Okay, so what are we checking for? Well, we're going to check if selected is equal to child ID. If those two are equal, then what we want to do is we want to echo a space and then the word selected there. If they're not equal, then we're not going to do anything. We're going to echo an empty string. Okay, so if I save that now and we refresh the page, you can see right away that now child categories is pulling in pants. So let's look at this in Levi's jeans. Here in products, you can see that Levi's jeans, okay, and the category was 6, which is what our function passed through, and then that, if you look in a categories table, 6 is indeed pants. So we know that that's correct. So now we have men pants. If I were to cancel this and go ahead and edit a different deal here, we have this dress, and now this is women dresses. So we have the first 4 done here. Let's just go ahead and test this. If I put pants here now and hit edit product, you can see that the post value did go ahead and stay for us, and that's exactly what we want, because we want the value changed if we change it, but if we set it to blank, you can see that it does populate back from the database, so it's not going to allow us to do it blank. Okay, so now we're going to take care of some of this other stuff here, and we're going to take care of price and list price. That's going to be super simple, so let's just go ahead and bang those out really quickly. Well, for a training video, we'll do it quickly. This whole project's taken a lot longer just because I'm kind of explaining things as we go, and honestly, I'm trying to, I'm kind of coding this as we go. So in the future, I'll be able to spend more time on projects before we start recording, but I didn't want to wait, a month or two before I was able to hammer out this project all ahead of time. But anyway, there's some things and I'll just admit there's some things I would do differently. I know that Gaming Queen or Gamer Queen, she found a better solution to one of my videos, something I did in there, and that's great. You guys should always be looking for ways to improve. And just a little side note, programming is less about the syntax and the things that you learn about a language as it is about problem solving. And so sometimes we get hung up on syntax and functions, and our minds kind of go towards the most complex way sometimes of doing things, and sometimes there's easier ways to do things. So just being a great problem solver will make you a better programmer, and I think that's more important than learning a language, is learning to be a good problem solver and practicing that. So I know that some of you guys are way better problem solvers than I am, and so you're better coders than I am. You're just trying to learn a language. So anyhow, let's get back on it here. So here at the top here we have price, and we can just do the same thing we've been doing. We can copy and paste here, and I'm just going to, this title right here is pretty much exactly what we want, so I'm going to copy that, and right underneath the category here we'll change this all to price. And I'm just gonna, if you're on Atom or Sublime or some of these other editors, you can hold down Control and click, and you can put your cursor in multiple places like I did like this, and I can actually edit all of this in one go. So now I can just type price, and you see it just, that's kind of cool. I mean, maybe that's not that cool to you, but I'm old enough to where stuff like that is relatively new to me, and so I just think that's pretty cool. So then down here, I'm also going to go ahead and copy line 19 here. This is title. Let's copy that, and right here after the parent, paste that, and let's see, go ahead and do my multiple cursors here, and we will change this to price as well. Yep. Okay, so now if I go and refresh the page, well, what we haven't done is in the value down here, we need to look for price in our form. So right here in our value, we're going to get rid of this ternary operator, and that we set up in a few videos ago. We're just going to echo out price. Alright. Now we're cooking with fire. So this price is exactly the same. We're just going to go ahead and, while we're down here in the form, let's look at, I noticed I got a little typo here. This should say list price. Forgot to change that last time. But right here in the, we'll get rid of the ternary operator in the value, and we'll just echo out list underscore price. Okay, which we haven't created yet, but we will at the top. Alright, so up here at the top now, we can actually just copy price and paste it, and we will go ahead and before all of our price here, we're just going to type in list underscore, and that will create this new variable here. And then we'll do the same thing on line 25. We're going to copy that. And by the way, when I say line numbers, they may not line up with your code. You've probably been a lot neater and organized, and your code lines will probably not match up with mine. So, okay. So now, if go back to the front end here, now you've got your price, list price. So we are well on our way here. Description is going to be easy as well. So let's go ahead and just so I can copy list price again, and I'm going to say now in all of these places, get rid of that. We'll just put description. Okay, and right here, you can copy this line, and we can, oops, gotta make sure you put your cursors in the right place when you do this, because you can sometimes copying and pasting is faster, and then sometimes, you know, you can make a mistake that that you didn't notice that you made, like not grabbing the whole line or something silly like that. So down here, let's go ahead and change that description. So we're looking for that text area. Here's the text area, and right here we're going to go ahead and get rid of all of this, and we're just going to say description. Okay, so we're just echoing out description right inside those text area tags. Okay, save that, and there we are. So now what I think we're going to do is go ahead and populate the sizes right here. So all we have to do there is we're going to go ahead and just copy title or whatever we want to, just kind of one of these shorter lines. And we will put it in underneath our description, and here we're going to replace title, every instance of title, with sizes. Okay, just like that. We'll do the same thing here. Okay, and we will go ahead and fix these to say sizes. Okay. Alright. So now we just got to go down here to the bottom of the form, and, well, not to the bottom, but right here where it says sizes, inside of that value we want to get rid of the ternary operator that we did. So much rework. And we're going to just echo out sizes. Okay, we're still going to leave the read-only attribute there. And if refresh, alright, so now what we have here is this. Now there's a couple things. One, we want to get rid of this comma, and the way we're going to do that is PHP has a pre-built function called write trim, so we can write trim that comma right off the end of that. Okay, so right here after sizes, we're just going to say sizes equals write trim, and what are we going to trim? Well, we're trimming sizes, and for the second parameter we're going to trim off a comma. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and copy this right here and paste it right here as well. Okay, and now when I refresh the page, you can see that that last comma is gone. So, but if I open this now, there's no values put in here. Okay, and That's because we haven't run this JavaScript yet. Let's go ahead and look in our footer. So this update sizes right here, that function is being called, where it's being called right now is in the modal. We have right here, right at the let's see, where are you at, modal? So on this button, this on click updates the sizes. So what happens is that's being called there, but we actually need that to happen on page load as well. So what we're going to do is at the bottom here, this products, we're going to do update sizes, I believe. Let's go ahead and look at that footer. Yep, update sizes. So right now what's happening is we have this post, we have this post thing here, and I noticed that we're redefining some of these categories. We need to get rid of, well, we need to get rid of all these except for DB path. We'll leave that, okay, because we're defining them up here. But what else is happening is where we have the sizes array being built is right here. We have right here the sizes array. Okay, all of this needs to come out of this post if statement, and it needs to happen underneath this if statement here. So after the sizes is either set here or it's set here, but post doesn't happen, we still need this size string here because we need this size array, and you know, we need all of this, so that needed to be outside of that. Okay, so what's happening here is this is working fine, but inside the logic there's kind of a logic error here, and we have this if statement, and the if statement is saying if not empty post. Really what needs to happen here is this needs to be if not empty sizes, and that's got to be the PHP variable there, or that's an array. So now if I refresh the page, alright, so if not empty sizes, and then we have the size string here, and we're trying to sanitize this. But really what we need to do is get rid of that post, because this isn't a post value at this point. We've already set that up at the top here, so that's what we want. And then there, let's go ahead and check that. I think that should fix our problems here. There we go. So now, because we have the logic correct in our if statements, this is happening, and now we have this. One thing I did notice is we do have this last little chunk there, and the reason that's happening is, and that's fine because our PHP code will fix that, but what's happening here is inside of our footer, we can see our update sizes function. We're adding that comma on, and so this is actually updating the string after this update sizes runs. And so we actually don't even need to run this at load time, this update sizes. I believe we can get rid of this because what's happening is, right, so if I load this now, see, now we're fine and we don't have that extra comma there. The reason is because we're actually grabbing this information based upon it either being, now if I add something here, let's just add extra large, and let's give it some quantity there. So now that works just fine. We can get rid of this, save changes. and now we're back. So that's all working just fine, so that actually wasn't that difficult. So the last thing that we need to update here is our product photo. So let's go ahead and take a look at the logic of that in our products page. And right here in our, let's see, products, right here is our photo. And what we want to happen is we actually are going to add some PHP logic here. And in order to do this, we're going to, at the top, go ahead and add our photo, and we're gonna call this saved. And actually, we don't need to. Yeah, we can just add saved photo equals a blank string. Okay, so I'm in the wrong place here. That's totally fine. We'll fix this. So right here in the top, we want to define this if get isn't set to edit. It's just so we don't have any errors. But what I'm going to do here is put saved image equals a blank string. Okay. Then right here, if get is set, we're going to say saved image is equal to, and then we're going to grab that from our database. So saved image, we can do a ternary operator here just to do a check, and we're going to say if let's see, if product image, let's just go and take a look at the database, make sure we're right there. Product image, yep. So that's what we want. So if product image is not equal to a blank string, then we want to set that to product image. And if it is a blank string, we're just going to set that variable to a blank string. Then down here in our form where we have the photo, we're going to, let's just do a PHP check here. So we're going to say PHP if, and we're going to use this syntax here, skip down a couple lines, end if. Alright, so if saved image is not equal a blank string, what are we going to do? Well, let's go ahead and put a div in here, okay, and we'll give this div a class of, I don't know, saved image. Alright, and then we're going to throw in an image tag here, and for source we're going to set that equal to, okay, we'll do a PHP echo saved image, and then go ahead and close alt. So in the alt tag we can just put saved image, something like that. Alright, so let's go ahead now and take a look at what's going on here. You can see that our image does show up, but what else shows up is this choose photo. We don't want that to show up if there's already an image there. So what we have to do is do, instead of end if here, we'll just say else. Okay, and then after this we're going to put end if. Okay, and we can go ahead and indent this over. So now if I refresh the page, that part of the form's gone and we just have this image preview. You might have to do some CSS. Let's just go ahead and check a few of our images and see how they look. So yeah, that's a problem. So let's go ahead and do some CSS. Okay. So that's not going to take much because we gave this a class of saved image. So now if we go to our CSS file and go to main.css, we can just add a little rule here, and we can say saved image, and we can say width, and let's just make this like 200 pixels and do height auto. So it saves, that'll keep it in the same aspect ratio, so it won't like distort. So let's go back and look at this one again, this test. Oh, so what we need to do is actually give this, this is the class of the div, but we need to tell it that the image actually needs to be that size. So now when I refresh, nothing happens. Let's empty the cache. There we go. So sometimes the CSS and JavaScript files get cached just to save space on your computer, or load times and things like that. So now you can test all these, and that's much more presentable. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close my developer tools, and what we're gonna do now is, the last thing I think we'll do in this video is we're going to go ahead and, well, you know what, let's just go ahead and wrap up this edit product thing. We're almost done. Alright, so the other thing I want to do is, in this, after this image here, I'm going to do a break tag, and I want to add, let's see, I want to add a link here. And we're going to go ahead and give this a class of text danger. That'll just make it red. Okay, and we're just going to say delete image. So if they click that, it's going to delete the image. So we got to tell it to go to products.php, and we're going to tell it delete image equals, and then we need to tell it the image ID, or the we need to tell it the path to the image. So actually what we're going to do is just, we actually just need to pass it in the edit ID. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to put delete image equals 1, and then we need to tell it that the edit equals, and then we're going to do the same thing we did in this form select here, where edit ID is going to be there. So we don't need to tell it, we don't really need to tell it anything else, because the we know you're only going to see this image when it's edited, you know, when you're on an edit page. So we know we have access to this edit ID variable because it's being set at the top of the page. So let's go ahead and refresh this page now and take a look at this. So if I delete, you got this delete image here, you can see edit equals 1. Let's cancel that and let's delete this image. Well, edit is delete image equals 1 and edit ID is 3. So now in order to do that, all we have to do is at the very top of the page here, after edit, let's do it right before. Alright, so inside of this if set get edit, we're going to go down here and we're going to go underneath this product where we're fetching this product results here. we're going to do a check there because we want this stuff here so we don't have to check the database again. So I'm going to do an if statement here. We're just going to say if. Go ahead and set up our if statement. And what we want to do is we want to say if is set $_get delete underscore image. If that's set, then we know the edit ID and we know the product, we have the URL. So PHP has an unset function, and so what we're going to do is we're going to say unset, and all we have to do is tell it what we want to unset in our file structure. So the first thing that we want to do is we want it to unset base URL. We're going to concatenate onto that. Here, let's just for so we can see this really quick. Let's do. I'm going to comment this out. And I'm going to say image URL equals. So we're going to set this image URL equal to $_server, and we're going to pass that in document root, okay, and then we're going to concatenate onto that the URL in the database that's stored. So all we need to do there is we already have our product image. So now let's just echo image URL. Okay. So refresh the page here. Line 23, I have an unexpected error. And that's because I'm missing one of my closing parens there. So let's go ahead and take a look again. Alright, so if I hit delete image, now I see the full path. So we have op lamps, htdocs, tutorial, images, products, and then the name of this from the database. That's exactly what we want. This will hopefully, anyways, we have this image URL. So what we can do now is in our unset function, uncomment that, and we can just say pass it in image underscore URL. Right? So go ahead and refresh the page, and if I hit this, it's going to delete that image. But before we do that, we also, after the unset, we need to update the database. So we're going to run db query, okay, and inside here we're just going to say update products, and then we're going to say set image equal to a blank string where ID equals, and then we have our edit ID. So this query is update product set image equal to blank string where ID is equal to this edit ID. The last thing that we want to do is we want to do a header, and we're going to say location products.php, and let's go ahead and redirect them back to edit equals, and then we're going to concatenate on edit ID. Alright, so now if I refresh the page, alright, we'll come back to that. I want to test it. Let's go ahead and update our database now. So the last thing that we need to do here is, if all this stuff, if it all passes, what we want to do is move uploaded files, And then right here, this insert SQL, that needs to be different. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if, and then is set $_post, or get rather, edit. Okay, and what we're going to do is say, we'll still call it insert SQL, just so we don't have to change our logic here, but it doesn't really make sense. Okay, so now all we have to do is set up this SQL statement. So update products set, and then we just go through. We just say set title equal to title, comma, price equal to price. Oops. I'm just going to keep going along here. List price equal to list price. We got brand equal to brand. Categories equal to categories. And that needs, brand and categories need to be in single quotes. Some people, you can put them in curly braces as well if you like. Sizes is equal to sizes. Let's see. Image is going to be equal to DB path. Okay. And then I think the last one is description is equal to description. Okay. Last thing we need to do is check this DB path and make sure that that's being set. DB path, yeah, that's being set up here. Yeah. Let's just throw this at the top of the page here and just make sure that we have a DB path being set up. We'll just set it to a blank string. That way we know that this query won't fail, and it's just, there's no underscore there, sorry about that. So DB path. Alright. With a little bit of luck, we can change this. Alright, so had a little bit of an issue, and I think what's going on is here in the footer, this parent on change get child options. Let's go ahead and get rid of that get child options, and let's just pass it an anonymous function. And now we'll do get child options. Okay, just like that. Hit save. Hopefully that works. Yep, so that works perfectly. So that's taken care of. What I want to check now is if I change some of this. Let's change this one from women dresses to women shoes and hit edit product. If I go back now, okay, so I've completely wrecked my database, and that is because right here in our product. Hopefully you did not do what I just did. So down in the bottom, when we run that query, what's happening, it's not in the bottom of the file, it's right here, is we're saying update this database, okay? And then I just ended it here, and I didn't say where. I didn't give it any kind of like conditions. So it just updated everything to the same values. So I need to say where, and then we're going to say ID equals, and then that needs to be edit ID. So that is a lesson to you, is never update or delete from a database without having some sort of where clause. So my database is ruined. You can see that they're all set to the same values here. So what I'm going to do is delete my database, or delete all those products. And alright, the reason that that image failed is because we did this DB blank there, and then inside of our get we didn't actually do this. So what we needed to do is this needs to be, we'll do a DB path equals saved image here, because we're using DB path down here to enter it into the database, and so that's why that didn't work. Alright, so I think we're about done. I'm going to go ahead and add a product to the database and see if I can. So right here, the reason it didn't add category is because this needs to be just category. That's because we called it that at the top, and right here on this update as well. See right here, I just called it category. Alright, so let's delete both of these out of the database again, and let's go back to cancel. And we don't have any products, so let's add one. Hopefully this works. You see how you can really screw things up with typos and forgetting to do certain things. I'm just putting arbitrary stuff in here right now just to make sure this all works. Okay. So now we have category. So let's look at it. Alright, so that seems to be working. So let's go ahead and delete this image and see what happens. If I go back now to my database, browse, the image has been deleted there. We do need to make sure that it's being deleted from the database, and the only way I know to do that is to get rid of all these old images I have in here. Okay. Alright, so now let's just go back to edit, and we'll add that image back in. Okay, take a look at it. Alright, it's back. So now if I look here, it's right here. So now let's see if it deletes it when I delete the image. It does take it out of the database, but alright, it takes it out of the database. And let's see. It does not delete it here, so something's wrong with our unset. Alright, I think it's a file's permission problem. So what I'm going to try to do, instead of using this unset, I'm going to say unlink and see if that works. So then we can refresh the page here, delete it. It does delete it from the database, and it looks like it has been deleted from the products as well. Let's try to add the image back. Okay, and let's look here. Alright, so 1B F69, delete the image, and it is indeed gone. So this unlink worked better for us than unset. You could try both. I have had unset work before, but I think it's just a Unix file permission problem, the reason it wasn't working. So unlink's working for me in this situation. But anyways, we have now, well, I have destroyed my database, which I just need to add more products. It's not really destroyed. Just lost my products because I forgot that where clause, but everything seems to be working now. We can go ahead and hit featured, and so that works. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this series up until now. I've had a lot of questions, people asking, hey, is this the last video? No, I get to these as quickly as I can. I would guess we're about halfway through, or a little over halfway through. Yes, we're going to be connecting to a payment gateway. We're going to use Stripe.com for that, and we're going to process credit cards and actually purchase these products. So that's going to be coming in the next couple of videos. We're going to add a user authentication system to this, to where we can add new employees and users from the back end and make sure they're logged in, so that not just anybody can come and delete our products by just tapping admin. So there'll be a login registration type system built into this. But anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video. In the next video, we're going to go ahead and delete products, which is going to be a super quick video. I just don't have time to do it right now with this one, but then we'll be done with this products page. Alright, so thank you guys, and have a wonderful evening.